Greetings, brethren. Greetings, sister. It's your boy, Bishop Jon Jon. I'm back on YouTube once again. And tonight, man, I'm not going to be as long as I usually would. Just got off of work. I'm going to talk briefly on lust and the outcome of lust when it consumes you or you allow it to consume you. My last video I spoke on murder, sex, money. I believe it said money, sex, murder. All three tied to lust. And I spoke briefly on, the outcome of being part of that lifestyle. What really happens? Well, I'm going to break it down even more tonight, right? Lust. It's just simply a distraction to keep you from being grounded on the narrow path and being balanced chemically and spiritually. It'll throw you off if you allow it to. But the key word is allow. God has given us power to make wise judgment and be wise judges of character pertaining to humanity. We have to fight. We have to fight and we have to strive to do what's right so that lust doesn't consume us. Lust also invites strongholds and binds as well. That's what you invite into your life: binds, stronghold, bondage, misery, sadness, pain, unnecessary pain. All because you allow lust to consume you. That's why the Bible speaks so much on flesh and lust, sustaining yourself from fleshly lust. Because lust is a distraction. All right, like people. Let's say you're on the narrow path, right? You're doing well. And we all have our demons that we fight every day. And we all have our, mental struggles, that we keep to ourselves, or some of us voice them to be free. We confess our mental state, is not as well as it should be, so that we can be free from that type of state of mind. And let's say you're on the narrow path, man, and all of a sudden, all kinds of noisome pestilences, all kind of nuisances, all kinds of, everything just starts hitting you at once. All kind of arrows flying at you. Psalms 91 is key. All kind of arrows is just flying at you, man, and, but you're on the narrow path. Here's what I'm trying to say. Those arrows, they're flying your direction. Yeah, those arrows, they're being sent your direction. They're flying your way. But none of them will harm you because you're on the narrow path. But let's just say you're on the narrow path, right? But then, you start to thinking about your situation. You get to thinking about things that pertain to your flesh, like wants, Then you start thinking of, all the things you ever wanted in life. And then you look at your situation and you're like, damn, like, there's no balance here. Like, I'm not getting the results that I want. So you decide to, detour. Because that's what lust does. It detours you from the righteous path, the narrow path. And your state of mind changes. Thoughts that you usually wouldn't have in your purest state of mind pertaining to righteousness, you start thinking the opposite. You start doing the opposite. Instead of going to the synagogue, church, or whatever mosque you go to, praying daily, fasting, whatever routine, I don't want to say rituals, but whatever suits you, whatever gives you spiritual growth that you were doing on a daily basis, you stop doing, and then you start replacing and substituting those righteous spiritual things that cause you to spiritually grow. You start substituting them with fleshly lusts, like sex, getting money, or hey, even murder. Because you're saying to yourself, you're on this narrow path, niggas think you soft, niggas think you fell off, niggas don't think they think this, you don't got it in you no more, and you concerned about what everyone else thinks. But everybody's not on the same path as you. You're on a narrow path, a path where those people are no longer relevant. Those people and those decisions that you used to make and those demons that you used to face, or those demons that once consumed you, they no longer are relevant to you. But let's just say you detour and fall into temptation. You were doing good, you were spiritually growing, which makes you joyful. But when you fall into temptation, you're no longer joyful. You become miserable and sad and regretful, because now you've evolved into a carnal state of mind from a pure, righteous state of mind. And that's why lust is so important to fight, and it's so important to analyze self, so that you are aware of your lusts, your fleshly lust, whatever that lust may be. One thing you have to keep in mind is God does not judge like man. He has no respect of persons. So what man will say about your fleshly lust, it's the same thing God will say about the people that talk about your fleshly lust. He'll look at their fleshly lust like the same way you look at his fleshly lust. I look at your fleshly lust. Because I'm not you. I think nothing like you. I'm omniscient. I'm omnipresent. And I'm omnipotent. Excuse me. I think nothing like you. Oh man, I heard that nigga such and such. I heard stay away from that nigga, cause whole time, God looking at you like, really? Alright. That's what it is? Yeah. So you just that great and good, huh? Alright. You forgot about your fleshly lust. Now I'm gonna expose you. And at first, when you invite lust and allow it to come into your heart and to take over your mind and to consume your soul, before it even gets to that point, when you play around with it, you start straddling the fence, that's when you become lukewarm. And the book clearly says to be hot or cold. If you're lukewarm, he will spew you out of his mouth. Okay, now you're spewed out of his mouth. Now you're distasteful to him, because you're allowing something that was never meant to be to consume you. It's not meant for lust to consume you. Lust is an obstacle. Once you defeat lust, man, you can break from the matrix. You know what I'm saying? You can open a realm of your mind and your third eye that you never knew existed. You can fully awaken. And it's going to feel weird at first. It's not going to feel like, you're not going to be comfortable with it. But what you have to understand is lust is no longer an obstacle for you. All you have to do is fight. No, it's not easy. Yeah, you'll lose friends. Yeah, you might not get the paper that you want. You have your soul, B. You understand what I'm saying? You have your soul. All the other, materialistic things you coulda, woulda, shoulda had. Listen, Once you break free from the matrix, they won't even matter to you no more. The women you used to be attracted to, the men you used to be attracted to, the material things that used to attract your eye, you've opened your third eye powers. They no longer attract to you because you're no longer in a carnal state. You have evolved from a carnal state. Okay? You've transformed. You've broken from the matrix. That's important and that's key to do if you want to survive in this world. Yeah, it takes a lot of praying, but, you know, besides praying, besides fasting, besides meditation, it takes keeping it real with yourself and saying, yeah, I know I'm lustful. I know this lust is in me. Instead of trying to act like you're fighting it when you're really, you're trying to linger towards it. Or trying to let it linger towards you. Oh, it just took over me. So you can say, oh, it just took over me. You subconsciously wanted it to. Deep down inside, you wanted it to. Because you didn't ask for the strength to fight it. Because you didn't desire to fight it. But once you start desiring to fight those demons and that lust, those obstacles, that detour that's going to throw you off of your path, once you decide that my path and my mission, my journey in life is greater than this lust that's consuming me or this lust that's attached to me, once you realize and your understanding is open, that lust can no longer defeat you, baby. That lust no longer exists. That's an obstacle that you've broken free from. Being free is way better than being rich. And I've never been rich. But I could tell you this. From what I see, and witness, from others that are fortunate to have generational wealth and be born into money or come into money, those are the main miserable people. Because money buys them everything. Nobody really loves them for who they truly are. So they disguise who they truly are. Which leads to sadness and misery. You're miserable inside. You're hurting yourself. Self-trauma. You're hurting yourself. It's not just for the rich man, the poor man too. You're hurting yourself. You're in denial. Break free from your denial. Break free from your lust. Break free from that thing that has you consumed that you can't let go of. Set yourself free. Be free indeed. Be free indeed. Let your chakras align, man. Clear your thoughts. Be in tune and one with nature. That's what Adam and Eve were here for. That's what they were put here for to do. To align and be one with nature. To be one with nature is to be one with God, the creator of heaven and earth. We have to do away with our old selves, man. And proof of that is when the book says he's going to do away with the old heaven and the old earth. It's going to be a new thing. How can you enter something new, a new heaven and new earth, and you haven't broken from the old heaven and the old earth? You haven't broken from the old way. You're stuck in tradition. You're stuck in paganism, holidays, man's holidays, not holy days. Holidays consume you. You go broke trying to please people that could give a flying fuck about you. Your kids, you're buying the shit, but you're not teaching them how to survive, or you're not really putting down on them and rearing them up properly. You're just buying them stuff and spoiling them, and then when you can't do it, you are kind of unfit parents and shit like that. But, hey man, lust is deep, man. You could lust for a fix. Need that heroin, need that gut batch. There you go, shooting up 4 or 5 times a day. Not in public. Tell you something about lust. And I hate to bring it up again, the situation with Takeoff. That's the perfect example of lust. You're lusting for a lifestyle. You're lusting for the money. You're lusting for the fame. The fortune that comes with the fame. You're old enough. Yeah, that's Kanye's book. And